Good morning, good morning, good morning. Just let me know that you can hear me, that there's a clear signal. Morning, John. Morning, Bart. Okay, what are we looking at then? Let's have a look. So, higher time frame charts. The H1 you will see right here, dove down into the deep pullback flow zones, coming down towards this old point of control. Okay, if you look at the daily chart, I pull the daily chart up. Right, the importance of the 20-day and the 5-day. The purple line, the 20-day, the blue line, the 5-day. So we ducked back down, we held these. These are your long-term trend signals. Okay, so we're holding these for now. All the time we hold these, we have the potential to squeeze back up to this upper Bollinger Band. All right, we have the potential to do that. I'm not saying we do that today. I'm saying long-term, high time frame, we have the potential to do that. The Bollinger Bands are starting to become closer. They're starting to tighten up, which is a signal that we are starting to contract, and from that you normally get a big violent move, which will probably time out perfectly for Wednesday. All right, so that's what we're looking at right now. Ideally this week I would love a 2-day pullback early week, but it does not look like we're going to get it. We have relative weakness in the Qs versus the ES. The reason for that is Apple did not achieve great pre-sales in the new iPhone 16, so it was very weak, down 3%. Okay, so we have weakness in the Qs versus the ES. Qs took a dive down into the 5-day, 20-day, ground back up through the previous day low and close, tapping the lower time frame algo. Notice we got through the VWAP and we tapped the lower time frame algo. So what do I expect for now? Liquidity build. All right, I expect liquidity building to happen, and the reason for that is we are now between the higher time frame algo right here and the lower time frame algo, and in here it needs to create liquidity. If we're going to have a bullish run today, okay, off this reclaim, we have a very nice trend here, and you'll notice we talk about this all the time. This move right here with target up here. Here are all the stops overnight. So if it wants to get going to the bullish side, it will start to reclaim and run all these overnight shorts out. ES for now is just holding inside range, right? We're very, very much stuck inside range on ES. It has not cleared out the overnight highs. It has not cleared out, or it has cleared out the overnight highs, sorry, it has not cleared out the previous day highs. All right, so previous day high will be the target for ES. If it can get through that, it has the potential to squeeze. Remember, ES is basing much closer to its all-time highs than the Qs are right now. So tech is weak in general in the market. Tech is much, much weaker than we're having on the ES, on the SPX, on SPY. It is Monday. You got to take your time on Monday, and this is not a normal week. All right, team, this is not a normal week. On Wednesday this week, we have FOMC. So we are evenly pricing in a half-point split cut and a quarter-point cut right now. So we're evenly pricing those in. And after Wednesday, we have more data coming. We have triple witching on Friday, where we have the expiries on monthly, weekly, quarterlies on the options chains, and also the rollover on the futures. So if you've woken up and you've got a 200, 300 point gap up or gap down, it's because we've rolled over. All right, so I've not moved my contracts over to the December Jan contract yet. I'm still trading September. I will probably roll over after today or tomorrow. The reason for that is I just want to have all my higher time frame lines on my chart, so I know that from tomorrow all my custom built script will plot the new algos, and I'm not lacking volume on the old contract. It's about 50-50, so there's no big deal there. But I did have some bad fills this morning because of it, so it is something to be aware of. Definitely something to be aware of. On the VIX, we're squeezing up. We had a good drive this morning into 1750, couldn't get through it, coming back to hold the flow zone. So in general, the market pretty much stuck in a range for now. All right, pretty much stuck in a range. We have got this nice trend line, and if we base above it, which we're trying to do right now, we might come and run all these stops out. All right, so I'm waiting to see if this goes bullish, which it's starting to try and do. I'm expecting a lot of chop. Monday, Tuesday this week, I'm not expecting very nice action. Wednesday, I expect a rather large move. And then Thursday is really when I'm interested this week. I want to see, once volume comes back into the market and the news algos are out the way, how do we respond to Wednesday? That's really what I'm interested in for this week. So as you would see right here, we got stuck and bids came in between the 20-day and the 5-day. And then we started to bid up, reclaiming previous day low, previous day close. These are obviously the weekly levels. And if we can base above here now, like we talked about, we can build that liquidity for a drive up to here. But we will need to see ES start to break out for that to happen, because the Qs are weak. If this starts to roll over, okay, we will simply use this pattern to come back down and retest, and maybe we can go lower for that point of control test we talked about earlier. For now, nothing really I'm super interested in. Lower time frame, I guess I would say I'm interested in a bullish move for a rotation back towards the upside. Futures Frank, thanks for joining. Stephen, Coop, Merrick, good to have you here. So just going to require a huge amount of patience over the next 48 hours. It is not going to be, or unlikely to be, super clean, nice action. People, or institutions I should say, will be positioning for the cut on Wednesday. No doubt there's going to be a cut. The question is how much, and the question is how does the market react. Everyone thinks that the cut will be a positive move for the market. I think short term it might be a positive move. But historically, when we've gone into quantitative easing phases, we've actually gone into recession. So my theory that I think will play out is we will have positive moves into the election, and post-election, I think we are going to get in big trouble because we have maximum debt and there is no money left in the pot to be spending. And that could cause major issues, because the reason you start cutting rates, okay, is to stimulate the economy. Right now, you have less people employed. You have a growing number of unemployed. You have less jobs being created. You have less consumer spending. Right? Consumers are spending much less right now. They're tightening the budget because they haven't got the money or the jobs to have that capital to spend with. So they need to stimulate the economy by lowering interest rates and making it easy to borrow. But everyone's already max leveraged out. So if they make it really easy to borrow and no one borrows, that's going to be the sign that the market is going to start dumping. That's probably going to start happening at the beginning of next year. If, and it is an if, my thesis plays out. No guarantee in any of that, but that's what I'm looking for. So can we drive to all-time highs into the election, especially on the SPY, the ES, and the SPX, where we have some stronger baskets currently. So you notice here is the pullback. And again, we talk about it. Everything is very tight here. Lower time frame algo, VWAP, deep pullback, momentum cloud, high time frame algo, all within 60 points right here. It will build liquidity, and we will just see. Is this going to retest towards the lows now? Are we going to have some weakness come back in the market? All of tech is red, other than Google and Microsoft, which did a red to green move, which is exactly what the NQ and ES did. Both did red to green moves on the New York session. And what do I mean by that? From where we opened to where we pushed up. Okay, where we opened, right here, we went red, and then we got above that open level and we went green on the day. And now we're just basing out at that level. So I am bullish short term for now, but really I'm hands off, and I want to see momentum and volume come in and really prove to me that it wants to start trending to the upside. Otherwise, we're going to be in this range. Right, and then we have another 20 minutes till the initial balance. Morning, Slava. So likely to be very, very patient the next few sessions. I'm really interested in trading more aggressively from Thursday. All right, once I can see where the key levels are, because I would imagine Wednesday sweeps a lot of liquidity both sides, and then we can see if we get continuation or a reversal type play, and then I can get my anchored VWAPs in off higher time frame pivot points and really understand where the institutions are trading. We zoom up right now. Okay, we are trading underneath Asia and London. Underneath Asia and London. So on the higher time frame, we are in a sell currently. You have to watch that last hourly candle. It is key. Same with the 4 hour. All right, if you look at that, it rebalanced a huge 4 hour area back into Thursday. So back into here. All right, this is Thursday, Friday, pullback into this area. Does it hold this area? Okay, and effectively make some form of higher time frame flag, something like this on a 4 hour or an hourly. Or is this the start of the rollover? Ideally, I want it lower until Tuesday. Then I'd like us to start reversing end of Tuesday, Wednesday. That would be the ideal play, but market will do whatever it wants. And we will just participate. And for me, I'm going to see money and take money when it's on the table until we get to Thursday. So building nice liquidity here like we talked about. Okay, this is your potential move. Building liquidity, and you're going to look for a drive up if it presents itself. Again, we want to see the ES get going. We do not want to see a lag in the ES because ES has been relative strength. Not much news coming today. So I either expect chop or just a very grindy day. If it's a grindy day, that's fine by me. I just want to join it. I'm not going to be fighting it. So retesting VWAP here with that lower time frame algo just sat above. That's where we rejected. Notice this wick came right into it and rejected. And we are above this trend. All right, so this is potential start of a lower time frame reversal, and you can think about, can we go and drive out all the way up to 19, might as well call it 550. All right, so there's a 100-point move here if it can get going. This is what we're looking at. Lower time frame for a squeeze up if it can get going. Feel much better about this if we start to get through this lower time frame algo and the flow zones start to join it. I'm happy to join this trend a little bit later, because if we can do that, I can prove to myself that buyers are definitely in control for a grind up session. But I'm going to be very, very patient this week, especially the front side of the week. Any questions? Any questions about rollover or triple witching or anything like that? Or maybe it's your first FOMC and you don't know what to expect. I'm yet to have my morning coffee, so still waking up, taking it very, very easy today on a Monday. No reason to start your week off bad. I'm up very, very small on the day currently. Had a good trade on Friday it was. Caught a few of those flushes in the room, which was nice. Nice four-figure trade on Friday. So no reason to force it on the next day. So notice that lower time frame algo, we cannot get through it for now. That is key for me. I would like to see the market, if we're really going to show bullish momentum, it needs to get through, and these flow zones need to support action above here. That is a very strong bullish sentiment if it can do that. Yeah, definitely key right now in this market is to have some patience. All right, I was interested in a short into these levels here, and it just carried on squeezing. So if anyone just attacked this, they got stopped out, or they didn't, and they're add, hoping it rolls over. Probably what you're seeing over at Top Step, I would imagine. I haven't looked, but seems to be a common theme over there. Fighting against the trend that's setting up intraday because they see a level of interest rather than a setup at that level. If this is going to roll, we're going to come back down and retest these areas. All right, if this is going to roll, then we can look for something like this, because we're going to have initial balance set soon. So super patient, guys, super patient. Ask yourself, is there something in here that you want to be trading right now? All right, because I would say it's bullish if it can get above here and start going, and it might want to roll. And if you zoom out and you look at where we are overnight, it's not really that interesting. You're likely to get chopped up in here while it builds liquidity, because since this candle here, so basically for 20 minutes, all right, we're doing a push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. This is liquidity building, which is exactly what we're expecting at these levels, because again, if it's going to use this and this, it's got to build liquidity here. This is very similar to what we saw pretty much every day last week. Very similar. So lower time frame is bullish right now because we are above the flow zones. This is a 2 minute. I can move it down to a 1 minute if you would prefer. So it gives you more signals, but more signals isn't always better. So that's the downtrend that I have in. If we can stay above that, I'm going to target these areas of liquidity. You have to be aware of the higher time frame charts here. We are having pressure on the flow zones on the hourly chart. And we are building a lot of volume here already on the day. All right, so we need to expand away from this or underneath this to see who's in control. So if you look at a volume profile, a session volume profile, right, on the H1, we've already put in a new point of control right where we are. Getting long wicks on Ninja Trader. Stephen, that just might be due to rollover, mate. So just be careful. I don't know which contract you're trading. But yeah, I had a few weird fills on Ninja this morning. And it can always be like that in rollover until you get all the volume moved to one contract. Morning, Penny. Thank you for joining. Good to see you here. All right, so it looks like a retest here of previous day close, this white line and this trend line. Okay, this trend line that we broke out of. So just waiting here to see, does it hold or do we start to turn underneath? Really not interested in this price action right now. Going to be very picky today. If we can build a bull flag, something like this, then I'm interested. If we're going to roll over and create a handle at the low of day for a continuation lower, I'm also interested. I'm not really interested in playing mid-range coming into initial balance. Okay, so that's some weakness there. ES is still above VWAP, looking to test VWAP. Question is that a sweep and a trap, or are we going to get continuation lower now? Okay, because we swept this level right here. Okay, so if it traps, it's going to do this. If we get continuation, we should get something like this back down towards the lows. Notice we're in liquidity build and we're flipping from bull to bear. That should tell you that it is a battle right now. Yeah, roll to December. Okay, so that's probably why, mate. If you're getting some weird stuff in Ninja, I had it this morning. I didn't have any wicks, but I definitely had a fill before the market had actually got somewhere. Very, very common in rollover. Rollover can be a pain. My stats in rollover are nowhere near as good as every other week that I have on the year. So 4 weeks of the year, I have much, much lower stats, and they're always on rollover week. So it's good to be aware of that. And this rollover week is also an FOMC week. There you go. Coop telling you just restart it should fix it. So I drive back up here. ES still above VWAP, trying to make a flag on the M5, M10. VIX is still basing. Not even bothering looking at Dixie anymore because I know Dixie is going to maintain in a sell position and we are going to continue to hedge in gold. And that is going to happen for a while. And that is exactly to do what I'm talking about that I think will happen end of this year, beginning of next year. You will get the dollar completely devalued. And that's what's going to make it really, really hard because they've probably waited a little bit too long to cut. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and check out what the market looked like in 2007 all the way through when it started making those cuts. And then have a look at where we are in this market cycle. It's very, very similar. Different conditions, but very, very similar. Okay, so for now, holding that higher time frame algo. So are we going to get a new break of structure to the downside and start that move to potentially come and test low of day? We would need ES to really roll over here. And that's the big difference here. When I'm looking at the two charts, when I'm looking at the two M5 charts, M10 charts, they look very, very different. ES looks very strong, like it could soak off the VWAP, and NQ does not. It looks like it wants to potentially get heavy. And that's just to do with tech. And until we get nice alignment across all these charts. Okay, there's a new break of structure. So now it looks like this might want to roll, doesn't it? All right, so we never got the breakout. We've rolled. Maybe first handle here, first bounce for bear flag. Can we get a continuation towards the lows? If we're going to get this move towards the lows, which would be an IB low, then we can think about a handle, a break of IB low continuation, or a failed auction underneath and a return back inside, which will be another choppy day if we get that to build liquidity for Wednesday. Would not surprise me in the slightest, all right, if the next 2 days, the market's goal is to build liquidity for Wednesday. I would rather it did that to the downside. All right, if it's going to build liquidity, I'd rather we chop towards the downside, because it means on Wednesday, if they do a cut and we get an initial bullish move off that cut, we're going to run everyone out the market. That will provide the stops for a really nice momentum move upside. All right, don't forget to look at that H1. We have a lot of room down on the H1. If it starts letting go of all the way to Wednesday, that's going to provide another 100 to 200 points underneath Wednesday's low, which is basically 188. You then have room for that back test of where we broke out from. All right, so you would have a potential back test of 150, 974, 930. Okay, if it really wants to get heavy this week. Mindful Matters, thank you, that means a lot. Really appreciate it. Are you doing the course Mindful Matters or just turning up for the live streams each day? Out of interest. Okay, so in a sell signal now, potentially for this rotation. ES finally coming under VWAP, but it is at an exact spot where it found bids 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago now almost. And you have 3 minutes until the initial balance is set. So weakness in the Qs, all right, weakness in the Qs. Google almost flat again. Most of the heaviness today coming from Apple, right? Apple down 2.8%, over 6 points on the day. Meta down almost 1%. Nvidia down 1.7%. Tesla down 1.5%. And Google and Microsoft did have a bounce. They both went red to green, but they're trading back towards the downside for now. So if they start letting go, all right, if they start letting go of their lows, you are going to see Qs get very, very weak. And a really nice bounce here on the VIX off its flow zones. So it's going to come and retest 1750. If we get a break on the VIX of 1750 and a sustained bid, okay, we talked about it in the room. It has an inverse head and shoulders. If we get that, the next target will be up at 18, and through that next target will be 1860. So if the VIX really wants to do that, we're going to start making lower lows, lower highs on the NQ. No worries, Mindful Matters. Well, I'm glad, no matter what you do, whether you're just turning up here or doing the course or doing YouTube, I'm glad you're learning. Right, so that bear flag starting to play out, which is why we didn't take anything long here until we got through that lower time frame algo. Notice the lower time frame algo held us down, it held the market down. And we built liquidity between the lower time frame and the higher time frame, and now we are getting that move to the downside, right? That bear flag playing out, probably going to come and test the low or towards the low where we found bids. We have a slight imbalance here, right into the initial balance timing, as in you've got 90 seconds. So if it pins us down by here, okay, then we can think about two things. Let's assume now, so 90 seconds ahead of time, that this is the initial balance. Right, your options will be something like this, or something like this for the day, or something where we come under and we trade back up. Right, so that's what I'm already thinking about. I'm already thinking about the initial balance plays. What are the rules with initial balance? Are we going to trade inside? Are we going to hold the lows? Are we going to have a failed auction? But we definitely have bearish momentum now starting to play out because we swept the open high and we came back inside. So I'm going to delete this trend line now. All right, and we have to be aware of this. 20-day, 5-day. Very, very aware of that. This is an old anchored VWAP down here. So we had a sweep on the VIX again, straight into 1750. No push and base above that yet. Wicked it by 2 points. So 1752, the high of day on VIX for now. Trading back inside that range. And now we have the initial balance set. All right, so there's your IB low and there's your IB high. So these are the extremes of the morning session on the New York market. So we trade outside of this and we sustain heavy pressure, we're going to look for a trend day down. If we trade outside and we come back inside, we're going to look for a failed auction. Okay, so a new bear flag here, microstructure. Okay, can we come and retest these levels? Remember, we found bids here. This is where buyers turned up this morning. If we take them out, all right, they're going to run their stops, aren't they? And that will increase sell pressure. ES coming straight towards its initial balance low as well. All right, so this is looking very, very weak now. The completion of a cup looking probable. We can think about that handle potentially if it gives us the opportunity. So here is a slight cover on 20-day. I still expect this to move lower, especially if ES breaks its lows. Lovely. I want to see extension to the downside now. As you can imagine, I'm trading this to the short side for this move. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Moving my stop down, as you can hear. Okay, being aggressive with this. ES has broken its lows. All right, I'm being aggressive with my stop in case we get a turnaround into the initial balance. All right, as I said earlier, today for me is a very much a see money, take money day. All right, so we have that target in towards that initial balance low, but we know, don't we? We know that buyers stepped up here. All right, so if you missed this, that's fine. If you missed this or this, that's absolutely fine. You can wait for a handle to be built. Ideally, that handle is built underneath. All right, I won't always show my executions on, I don't know, how do I point this chart here, because I'm trading a chart in front of me, but I will be telling you what I'm looking at all the time on this chart here. It's just because I'm executing on Ninja and it doesn't have all the indicators, which way? This way, this way. All the indicators you're looking at. All right, so new lows coming, beautiful. ES looking weak now. If tech starts to roll over, like we just talked about, Microsoft now gone green, red to green and back to red. So all those buyers who stepped up this morning are getting smoked. If Google starts to follow and you get weakness in tech coming into the market, we have a potential deeper move here. All right, so on H1, let's just change this to a crosshair so I can measure properly. On the H1, if we're going to retest old POC, it will be 19,280. You have to look at where we found buyers though in that afternoon session on Thursday, where we had that flag breakout. We are coming into and towards that move. But yeah, 19,280 would be nice. The underside of that session would be pretty much 200. And there is a stop run wick at 188. So that's what I'm looking for if we're going to get continuation downside. It's so interesting that ES is making fresh lows here. ES looks so weak all of a sudden. So I'm going to assume something like the banking sector has started to sell. All right. Beautiful, beautiful move. All right, so TP1 hit there.
Target filled.
Oh my God, this is lovely. Thank you so much. Okay. Right, so hopefully some of you got that with me. Yes, Coop, beautiful, 50-point move. You would have heard it scream target filled on that flush. Okay, so now runners, if you're holding runners, you can hold runners to see if we get continuation. Alternatively, what we've been talking about, we have been talking about, can we make a handle? Ideally, that handle, guys, will be in and around the initial balance low, okay? And then we'll get an extension to downside. You must be aware of these right here. This is a 5-day and an anchored VWAP. The light blue is an anchored VWAP, higher time frame, and the blue, the dark blue line is a 5-day. So that's your mean reversion play. Really, really nice. Hold these runners now if we get weakness. Don't be scared to stop out on the IB. All right, remember, we're going to need to see for continuation moves to the upside, something like this, and then a failure would be really nice, or maybe a 2-leg pullback and then a dive down to use liquidity. If we don't do that, all right, and we reclaim, you have to be very cautious. If we start reclaiming and doing this, okay, then we've got a failed auction outside where we've trapped into the anchored VWAP and 5-day, and then we can come and grind all the way back, and it's going to be a rotational play. So if you're going to take that, you'd be looking for a rotation to VWAP and then the IBH, and we do have a lot of stops up here. All right, a lot of stops. So those are the plays I'm thinking about. Two possible plays here: continuation for downside, volume is low. I can, right, let me know if that's better. I'm turning it up on my mic. Is that any better? Just reading the feedback in chat, guys. So let me know if that mic volume is any better. If it hasn't turned up enough off the mic, I will turn it up on stream. Lovely, but look, that's a great play. Oh, sorry, the volume on the moves are low. Sorry, failed to understand what you meant there. Good. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Mish channel, Mike channel. That's a really nice play. Ask yourself now, do you need to trade anymore? You just made $775 on that move down, right? That's a great day. Do you need to trade anymore? All right, so now we are starting to reclaim. So this for me is not a short yet. Remember, a short will be a bear flag or a head and shoulder or something like that. A failed auction will be what we currently have. All right, it's failed. If it starts reclaiming and doing this, what pattern are you going to see? Liquidity, drive upside. All right, hopefully you're learning here. I don't see many other influencers or YouTubers teaching this stuff, all right? They just scalp for tiny trades and they're not explaining to you what's happening. So this purple line here is a 20-day. This for me right now looks like a failed auction, okay? Looks like a failed auction. We have a block here that we failed from, and that's in mid-range. So you got to ask yourself, do you want to do short for 80 points? Not really, right? Not really. That's going to hurt you a lot. So just be patient. Just wait for something to build here. Don't be counter trend here, guys. Don't be looking for the longs. All right, we are in trend bear. It will tell you when we're in a long play. Really happy to see a load of you got that. That makes me very happy. I also grabbed it. And you would have heard that cover go off on Ninja, which is funny because I thought I turned off all the sounds on Ninja so they don't distract and annoy everyone, but apparently not. All right, so just looking here, waiting. Is this a 20-day rejection? Are we going to start to get a flag for a lower move here? These are the questions. VIX, okay, you will see it swiped 1750, traded up to 1770, but is back underneath 1750 again. So I really want to see VIX start to bid up with conviction. If we hold the IB low here, I would be very careful. But if we start to break down, we have potential for a move lower. Yeah, I mean, it's super common, Mindful Matters. Not just in the streaming space on YouTube, but also in education. I learned from some horrible traders when I started, and a lot of guys that come to me for help have the same issue. They're learning from guys who are teaching them bad habits or not teaching at all. Okay, so be cautious here if we start to reclaim, all right? There's no shift yet. There is absolutely no shift, no reason to get bullish yet. Not even on this. You want to see it start flipping all of these, right? Start reclaiming and grinding back for an upside move. Until then, just think about bearish moves downside, but ideally underneath the IB low. So ideally, if we do one pullback, two pullbacks, and then we do something like this, then you've got a load of buyers stuck here for a move back down, and we can attack this. If it just continues to grind up, do not short against it. All right, do not short against it. Wait for a bear flag, wait for a head and shoulders, wait for a rejection of the initial balance low, something to give you a nice continuation. Remember, the flow zones are pointing down, trend is bearish, but we are inside, right, this range, IB low to IB high. So if it's going to build liquidity, it's going to trap and it's going to go back towards VWAP, back towards the IB high, and it's going to do it tomorrow as well, probably. Okay, and the reason for that is, think about now, how many stops are up here? Tons, right? Think about if we do the same thing here and we wash down and you get a load more short stops here. This is just an example. Okay, and we dig down and down and down and down and down, And then think about we come into FOMC on Wednesday. All right, it's gonna have liquidity to go and aim for. So it would not surprise me for today and tomorrow to build a lot of stops into the market. All right, but we got a really nice trade there, team. Really nice trade. There's your bear flag. There was the next one. And there was TP. All right, so TP1, partial, cover on return in. Very, very nice move. One good trade a day like that is all you need. It's all you need to make good money from the market. You do not need to be here all day. If that was your trade and you nailed that, you don't need to be here right now. All right, stay around, learn, but don't be pushing buttons and giving your day back. So this is the drive up. Okay, so this now definitely looks more and more like a failed auction, doesn't it? So this is what it's coming to test. This is where we found sellers for that leg down. So if we think about this in terms of legs, let's do a pathing. Okay, if you did a 1 MA, it would look like this, a line chart. Very, very tiny there. Okay, so it's coming back to test this. If we start to do this, okay, does this then make sense? This is what we're talking about. Potential here and bigger amount here. Neckline, breakout, upside. Until then, stay short like we talked about. Going to maintain my thesis that I'm looking for some form of liquidity to build out here against this. All right, that's my thesis. I'm going to follow these until it shifts. That doesn't mean I'm just shorting into here. I'm waiting to see if it's going to give me something that I can take, where I have nice tight risk reward, where I'm not adding to pops all the way up. Where did I enter? Snooker player, I can tell you, because I entered on different charts. So into 73, 9, is that right? Zoom in. 373, and then I added down to 56, and then I re-added at 45. I did take a partial at 49 before that last re-add, and then I covered at 05s on this chart. Let's see if I can drag that over. And there was another one which I took a bit earlier, so I traded it on 2 charts. Okay, can you see that? All right, so I was a little bit late on that flag down. Tiny partial, re-add with size, cover the wash. Hopefully that's showing. And I'll try and find the other one where I got in a little bit earlier. Let me know if you saw that okay, snooker player. Hopefully you did. Where is my other one? Oh, it's the same. I thought I got in earlier. It's not. Same. No worries. No worries. All right, so just playing momentum with those, plays, right? Once they set up, they break the flag, joining for that move down with a very clear target. Okay, so if we keep grinding here and we don't create a bear flag, we're going to create a trend. Okay, that might want to do something like this, but this is a very, very key level for me, as are the flow zones, which are in cells. So here right now, if you get a micro move like that and a breakdown, right, and underneath the IB low, ideally, then you can get more downside pressure. Looks like it potentially wants to set up here. VIX still not able to hold its gains above 1750. It is holding above 1740, but we would like to see it above the initial balance high, which is at 1750. That was our key level today when we started this stream on the VIX. If it can get up there, then we were going to have more downside pressure on the Qs. ES also trading inside its initial balance. So all the time we're inside initial balance, you have to expect some chop and some range rotation. Okay, just be very aware, if we don't break down aggressively and it starts to reclaim here, you have to be careful. Can't be add. But this is looking good for that bear flag and the head and shoulder that we just talked about. Underneath the IB low, so that would be TP1. If you get continuation now, all right, hold on to that runner, because if this does want to trend under IB low, you've got a very nice position. If it starts to reclaim, just take it off. You don't need to fight with the market. You can always get back in. All right, it's fine to stop out. It's fine to take partials. It's fine to take break evens. Don't fight it. This is looking good, isn't it? Remember what we talked about. Where's your cup and handle? To keep it really simple. Oh, maybe I can draw it. Would be nice, wouldn't it? There you go. All right. Go back on the stream. We talked about this on the move this morning while we were up here. All right. We were talking about this up here. It was either going to build liquidity or it's going to fail and do this move. And now we need to see it underneath the initial balance low for continuation lower. Thanks, Don. Appreciate it. Hopefully everyone here has caught a little bit of the move today. I'm hands off. All right, I caught the move that I wanted. I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to wait now, see what the market presents. Okay, it's absolutely fine if you're looking at this short side. It looks like it's setting up to me. Looks pretty good to me for a continuation and a retest, but you do not want to see buyers step in. If it fails to take out that low, all right, if it fails to take out the low we put in, then we're not going to have a break of structure, which means there's not going to be continuation. So you want to see this get run. If you took this, take a partial into it. There's nothing wrong with taking a partial into that. Hold most your size and look for a breakdown underneath. Okay, I'll always be transparent with you with what I'm looking at, with what I'm playing. You're never going to have me taking a trade and not telling you, because I always know what I'm trying to trade, all right? There's not a random trade. I'm always thinking ahead of time. This is looking very, very good. Hopefully some of you have got this now. All right, we rejected the flow zones, right here, rejected. We are in double bear, so we have continuation, we have momentum, multiple time frame lower. We just need to see a break of structure here. All right, and just remember you have a 5-day and an anchored view up here, so I would expect some bid support here. If it reclaims, just take it off. Nothing wrong with taking it off. ES currently looks unwilling to move lower, so we're looking for alignment here. Google is the only Mag 7 green. All right, it's the only Mag 7 green. Everything else is down. If this fails, guys, to go lower, you're going to get a W shape here. So do not be adding into this right now. All right, if the market now feels like it can trap, the pivot will be around here. Okay, and we will get a flip and a pressure up. Okay, so do not add at lows. This looks like it wants to squeeze now. Look how quickly that changed, right? We were underneath the IB low. Everyone started covering and it forced that rush up. Okay, so be very cautious of this W. If it's going to break, it can be aggressive. Must trade what's in front of you. Don't fight it, all right? You should not be in this short at this point. This point is definitely shifted, all right? We have aggressive candles up. These are big candles leaving imbalances. That is a sign that shorts are covering. If it's going to be a 2 try, You can always get back in, right? Right? You don't want to sit through pain. Right? If it's going to be a 2 try and fail later in the day, you can get back in later in the day. Remember what we said at the start of stream, we are expecting choppy action until we get to Wednesday. You have a new hourly bar coming in about 9 minutes. All right, and those hourly bars are key. It's funny because I watched, they reflush this, it's very dirty. I watched, how many of you watched the podcast with PW and Austin Silver? I watched it, I quite enjoyed it. I like both those guys, to be honest. But they were talking about the how the ICT macro is a load of bullshit, which it is. I'm not saying it's not. It absolutely is. But what I think neither of them fully understand is all it really is 10 minutes before and 10 minutes after a new H1 candle or H4 candle. That's because higher time frame traders, that's what they're trading off, right? They're trading off candle closures and candle opens, just like we are on an M1 or an M5. You're waiting for a candle close to tell you whether you're going to get in or not. It's the same for institutional traders. They're trading off an H1 or an H4. They're waiting for candle closures. This has potential to be quite a dirty move here. It hasn't taken this out. If the W fails and it gets under here, you're going to have a huge amount of buyers trapped in there. Big if. It is always an if here. It's repricing that imbalance. Does it soak here and now drive up? Or do we get a big flush moment? Not much on the tape really today of interest. And obviously I'm watching Bookmap, but Bookmap's now split between 2 contracts, right? So far it's repricing that imbalance. And that's all it is. Remember we talked about this right here, right? That's how you knew people were covering. Cover, left in imbalance. So can it do this now? That is the question. If it does that and it starts to break, all right, because we've had tapering, think about this was the original downtrend, and then we started to move to this, didn't we? All right, so there's your taper. Shorts are going to cover. If it squeezes, VWAP and mid-range are potential points that you would look for. And if it really wants to get going, all right, you have a lot of stops up here at the IB high. ES comfortably trading inside right now. I'm looking at a 10-minute chart on ES to see if it's going to reject and create a bear flag and really flush, or if it's going to drive straight back up into the VWAP. Just be patient here. Be patient here. VIX having another attempt now through 1750. This is key now. Can VIX get going here? If VIX gets going here, we're going to see weakness on these markets. All right. If VIX gets going, if you zoom out, there is an inverse head and shoulders on the VIX over the last 1, 2, 3 sessions. Definitely 2 sessions. But it needs to get through 1750 and it needs to start bidding up. It has to do that. It cannot just keep tapping it, rejecting, tapping it, rejecting. You'd need to see it get going. And if it gets going, it's going to be aggressive for at least 50 cents, up to 18. And it is turning the flow zones. On an M10, those in my room who are watching multiple time frames, the M10 on the VIX has shifted bullish, right? We gapped up overnight and we're holding gains. Remember, you've got a new hourly bar coming in 4 minutes. Okay, so the two plays here. This is potential bear flag. Okay, and effectively above this would be W. You'd really want that to hold and get above here. So right now we're basically building liquidity in a 40 to 50 point range. Still decent range. We're inside initial balance and we're building a potential handle or a potential W. Not clear which yet, but momentum has been to the downside both overnight and in this morning session. But if we just have a look at that H1 chart, remember what we said. If the H1 started to come down, it's going to want to lean into the old point of control. Right here, this line here, this line here, and these are the deep pullback flow zones. All right, so everything there pretty much lined up. The volume shelf is here, and we pretty much came in and tapped into it. So the question now is, does a handle build out lower time frame that's going to take us through this section? Okay, are we going to get through this section, do something like this, and set up a higher time frame, head and shoulder, for a potential deep dive? Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you can. Back down into these areas that we broke out from. All right, on the H1, these are where we broke out from. So we could still do something like this. All right, this, roll down, this. This is how the market works in waves, okay? It doesn't go straight up and straight down. It needs to come to areas where people are interested in buying and interested in selling, and also places where people are stuck. That's when the market really gets moving. Now, potentially here, that handle might play out. Look, and we're coming into a new hourly bar. Remember, we're coming into a new hourly bar. 90 seconds. Sorry guys, I'm eating, but I'm so hungry. I've been up since 5 a.m. I'm trading from California. It's only coming into 8 a.m. here. No worries, Coop. Hope you have a good day. Good work catching that trade. Right, one more minute. See what they do with this hourly bar. So remember, look at the previous hour. Look at the wick on that previous hour. Are we going to close under that wick? Are we going to close near lows? Are we going to get momentum downside here? It might give you a new opportunity to enter here if we're going to get weak. Testing the IB low. Still holding this trend for now, right? Did not break below, did not break below the IB low. This is your new hourly candle now. Okay, you have a new hourly candle here. So make note of where we're closing. We're closing near value area low on the day, right at the IB low. So here is a breakdown and a reflush. Okay, beautiful. Do we get continuation downside now? Or does this hourly, make note of where this hourly opens. If this hourly starts to reclaim that hourly open, all right, we're probably going to drive way, way back up upside. VIX now above 1750. It is starting to base out above 1750. All right, I have my eye on it right now. Everything's at a very, very key point. Feels like the market really, really wants to get heavy here, but I do not want to get trapped near low of day. I'm very, very aware of that. VIX starting to go now. So is VIX going to break high of day? Are we going to see weakness on this market come, or is it going to fail 1770? So the questions you should be asking yourself right now. Very, very tight, this market. Does not know what it wants to do. Not much on the book. All right, really not much on the book to be expected, like we talked about. I'm going to hang around for like another hour here, guys, into lunch. You need to see the market break down here. Really needs to break down here to hold conviction. Missed that trade. No, it's all good, Frank. We won't get every trade. Will not get every trade. Looking to see, is VIX going to break that high of day? That's key. Squeeze through high of day VIX, we might get rollover here. Failure of high of day of VIX, we might trade inside IB. And if we trade inside IB and we get a failed auction, we can get a squeeze back up. All right, so there's two major possibilities in this market right now. So far, it's about 7 points off that high of day on the VIX. On the VIX. ES not near its low of day right now. It's trying to soak back up. Same with the NQ. You're looking for a micro flush here. See how choppy this is here. It would need to flush this and attack this. If it doesn't, all right, then it's going to fail for downside. But we are looking at this area here. Potential liquidity to give more downside. That is exactly what it is. It is potential liquidity to build more downside. Here we go. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, partial into that. Can we get extension for downside? Really nice. Moving my stop down aggressively now. Partial into that low of day. I'm very, very aware about this anchored view up here. See how we built that liquidity, all right, there. This was, remember, the part of the handle. So even if you missed this, it provided that opportunity against IB low, but you have to partial out. Understand, when you are trading near lows of day, all right, be more aggressive with your stops, because we know buyers might want to come in around here. Yes, Stephen, well done. Really, really nice. Like, the more you guys turn up every day and you see what I'm looking at, and you understand the patterns, the very obvious patterns, and you can scout out some action. All right, so if you took that play from IB low, you should be getting ready to stop out. So you should have been partialing on the move, and you should be getting ready to stop out. If it starts breaking above, you need to be ready to stop out. You do not want to be add. These are the bad habits that people teach you. Don't be adding above a reclaim above here. All right, don't be adding. That should be a stop out and wait for a new position. I'm hands off. I stopped out. I took my partials. That is the level. Must reject. Same level. All right. Big bear flag, small bear flag. Building liquidity outside all of this. If we come under here, you probably get a bigger flush. If we run low of day, you probably get a bigger flush. But you must take a partial near that low of day. This 5-day and this anchored view up, these are higher time frame levels. These are higher time frame levels. It's why I'm very careful looking for shorts from here. I did take it. I'm not saying I didn't take it, but I've got to know that big institutions might, not will, might want to bid up here. Might. Foster Scott, welcome to the stream. As a reminder, we are in trend down, all right, bearish trend right now. If we fail to make new lows, this is a huge pool of liquidity or range. So if we fail to make new lows, be very, very careful if we start to reclaim and hold above it. This will be a short squeeze trigger. If we come above and we take these stops and then come down, that can effectively be like a micro spring to the downside. Structure wise, these are where the stops are. Really, technically you need to respect this up here. This is the high that made this low. I'm hands off right now, 2 for 2 since starting the stream. Happy to wait right now. I'm happy to wait. Done trading, watching now. Yeah, fantastic. Good discipline. Major money. That's all that matters, right? Okay, so this potential re-squeeze here, have to be careful. All right, so we did not make a new low. Didn't make it on NQ and we didn't make it on the ES. VIX, if anyone is watching VIX with me, it is still above 1750, but it keeps getting stuffed, all right? Into high of day, it keeps getting stuffed. If they start selling the VIX and we start basing above here, all right, we've already reclaimed IB. So all of this right now is a failed auction, all right? This is failed auction. This is buyers stepping in, sellers failing. We had the chance to go lower there, we didn't do it. When do the best squeezes happen? Have you ever asked yourself that? When do the best squeezes happen in the market? The best reversals happen? They happen when you fail something. So because we failed to go lower, shorts got trapped. So the best squeezes happen now because all these guys who didn't partial out are stuck and they're starting to cover. And if you trigger here, all the shorts from here will start to cover and then you can get squeeze up, all right? So the best squeezes and the best moves come from failures. They always come from failures. Pull you over to a line chart. Let's go to 5 minute. All right, this is where we are at on a 5 minute chart. So we failed to stay above the highs. We came to the lows, we broke down. If we fail to stay below here, because we failed to make a new low, we can trade back up because look how thin this is, not much in here, right? So we can trade back up. I know it looks messy, guys, when I'm drawing, but I'm just trying to explain in real time. Right, if we break out from here because we failed to make a low, we can still do this, but if we do this and base, there's not much till here. Right, this part here is initial balance. So a little trick for those joining stream, if you're like struggling to see the patterns, right, just put a line chart on your side monitor or use a 1 MA, a 1 SMA on your chart. If you put a 1 SMA on here, it would show you exactly the same thing. A line chart's just showing you the open and closes of candles. Okay, so it's starting to reclaim. So who is stuck right now? I would say currently shorts beneath the initial balance low are stuck. Shorts beneath the initial balance low are stuck. Do we have a trend day today? We do not currently have a trend day. All right, we're currently inside the initial balance. That is not a trend day. All right, inside here is a liquidity build day. That's all it is. All right, so again, we just talked about it. The failure to go lower is what traps the shorts. Okay, and now we can start attacking these. So the next level upside is probably sort of 70, 75, 69, 75. Notice a small sell into the 20-day moving average there, but we are expecting now price to potentially come and want to run out all the other shorts. So it's squeezed out everyone short down here. Can it take out the shorts who are here? If it takes them out and it sustains bids, then it's going to look towards VWAP and more upside. And it can do a whole rotation all the way back up to initial balance high. There are a lot of stops here. So you see how aggressive this is moving? This is because the shorts are stuck, right? That's why when you short lower day like we did for that breakdown, you must partial out. You must be aggressive with your stop. So now clearing out these stops, we just talked about it. We just talked about it. So if it can sustain bids now, then the green line is VWAP and the IB high. And yes, you do have the algos, lower time frame and higher time frame algos, for sure they're there. Then initial balance days, I would expect it to reprice. This can also just chop now, guys, right? If it wants to be a complete arse, it will just do this until it has built enough, right? This is your range. This box here is your range. But I'm definitely not interested in this short side unless it breaks down underneath the initial balance low. Right, it's done the move short side. There is your sell signal, right? This is what we took, right? Missed that, should have taken that, but missed it. So we took this down to here and I added under here. And then I re-attacked, right? Here, covered, break even on the rest. And now I'm going to wait and see, are we going to do a range rotation upside long, which it very, very much looks like. Okay, so micro time frame again. Ask yourself what this is. Where's the target? Where's the next target? Where's the next target? If you don't know where your exit is, I talked about this at the weekend. If you don't know where your exit is, why are you getting into a trade? Got to know where your exit is, not just your entry, your exit. Otherwise you don't understand what your risk reward is and you're just in a trade without knowing how much you could potentially make, or more importantly, potentially lose. So you would want to see pullbacks hold here. Now the easiest trade will be if pullbacks hold above the range it's created. The only thing which is kind of gross is this block right here. All right, but if we can hold and sustain bids on a higher time frame, this will basically look like this, which is a W. All right, so bids above here, upside. No worries, Foster. Yeah, if you want to learn more stuff like this, there's a ton of videos for free on my YouTube. If you're new to the channel, tons and tons. There's a playlist. Actually, if you go underneath in this description, I think I put the playlist in there. Those are all free videos. If you enjoy those videos and you want to learn some more advanced techniques, there is a 20-hour course. With that course, you get free access to my Discord for life, and you also get the indicator right now on your screen. So if I remove this, all right, you'll see it's plotting everything. And that comes all for free if you do the course. And the course with code YouTube is $399. And as you can see, I'm calling in real time. I'm telling you what I see in real time. This is not hindsight 2020. I'm not trying to get you stuck in a trade. We are trading exactly what's happening in front of us. Okay, so now, finally now, the book is starting to move, okay? So we have some bids on the book on the new contract at 575. I know I'm not on the new contract, so that would equate to around 360, all right? Around 360, we have some bids on the book. And upside 390, they're looking to sell into that push at 390. Remember, this green line here, all right, is the previous day low, all right? And this is previous day close. So on a daily, you have to also think about that. Do we come up, retest those levels and fail from those levels, or do we reclaim those levels and drive higher? Just to remind you on the daily, now I have not changed this since the stream last week, guys, since Friday. Okay, clear downtrend on the daily, clearly into this supply block. There are a ton of stops into 700, which we were looking to get filled at some point. So you will notice it's holding the blue line, the 5-day on the daily. This is the same line as we have on the lower time frame chart. Okay, on the daily, a really nice move would be this for the week, for the first 2 days, FOMC, drive up. That would be an amazing clean move. I do not know if we're going to get it, but that is the type of move that would be nice to trade. Have to be very careful. If they sell FOMC, all right, if they sell this, be very careful of a failed breakout after taking the liquidity above 700 and repricing this. If we don't reprice this early in the week, then we're leaving that door open to reprice later in the week. If I'm going too fast or you don't understand what I'm talking about, please just let me know. You mentioned the use of Bookmap earlier. Yeah, I have Bookmap on another side monitor. All right, so I'm just looking at levels on Bookmap. You don't need to use Bookmap. All right, I use level 2 on Bookmap just because I'm interested to see where people are participating, where they're selling, where they're buying. So now, what did we just talk about? That base above here would be the easiest long. See, we've got a long signal here. We're moving into trend bullish, right? If we can base, it has to prove itself. If we can base and it gives you a long pattern above here, targets, think about targets, okay? Don't be fighting this short now. This is not a short anymore. A short happened and it went, right? We're into long. Look, we're into long. It's triggered that green thing. It's telling you it's a long. The flow zone momentum clouds are going long. We're above this range where everyone was stuck. We said this block is the last little thing before taking us upside. Remember, green line there is the daily previous day low, and the white line is the previous day close, and this squiggly green line is your VWAP. So we're probably going to trade upside into this region first and then this region second. Sorry. All right, so if you are in this long, like we talked about, well done. Very nice move. I would be aggressive with your stop. All right, I would be aggressive with your stop. Not up here, but at least to your entry. If you took that flag out, all right, you're now up 15, 20 points. Move your stop up. You might see some action selling into 400, all right? That is previous day low that we talked about. The reason I'm saying be aggressive with the stop is if this is just a stop run and they're going to be really, really horrible, all right, you're going to see another rotation back to IB low, back inside this horrible range. Don't think that's going to happen, but I'm always prepared for it. So if you took like this flag breakout, your stop should move up. You're nicely in the money. Why let it come back and take you out for a red trade? Never let a nice green trade go red. Never ever do that. Not just does it hurt your account, it will hurt your psyche. Okay, it will hurt your psyche. Much easier to have a small green trade or a break-even trade and move on to the next one than it is to watch a great green trade go red. You're way, way more likely to go on tilt after something like that. Any questions, everyone watching? Any questions that you've got? Anything you want me to go over? Right now, you should be looking for potential bullish upside moves inside the initial balance, right? So not a trend move, a range rotation move. The top side of volume, all right, the point of control right now is right on the previous 2 hours open and close, so 432. 432 if it wants to reprice that whole thing. Remember, you can always look at a line chart, think about where supply is, all right? Where did we break down from? This is where it has the potential to go. This is where you would need to see it hold. Okay, so you would need to see something, whereas something like this would be fine, and this would be a very typical range rotation play. Very typical range rotation day. Again, expect some choppy action the next 48 hours into FOMC. Anyone who's just joining us, you must expect some choppy action, some range rotation, some traps the next 48 hours into FOMC. All right, while we're having a bit of a lull on the market, hopefully some of you are long in this or waiting for a long. What did you all get up to at the weekend? Did you do anything fun? Did you watch the football? Did you see Chiefs get lucky again? Jeez, man. That team seem to sneak wins every time. Drives me insane. My Rams got absolutely hammered. Not going to be our season this year for sure. Who's your team, Frank? Back recording the podcast. Nice, Ryan. Ryan, did you watch the UFC? And when's your next fight? Chargers. Yeah. Do you know what? I went to the first ever Chargers game at the SoFi. It was really, really good. Against, I think it was against Cowboys, actually. It was great. Tampa Bay. Bengals gave it away. Man, they looked so good though, didn't they? Really, really, really felt for them. Liverpool, man, bad weekend for you then, Merrick. I'm an Arsenal fan. Bad weekend for you. Nice stadium. Yeah, incredible stadium. I've been there loads, actually. I'm very, very lucky. I live very close, 20 minutes away or so. Yeah, really, really cool stadium. There you go. Here's your drive up, guys. So notice the creation of a new flag here. All right, you're just looking for trend continuation plays upside right now. This is a pretty steep trend, okay? So it would not surprise me to do a deeper pullback before continuation, which is why I'm saying just be cautious with your stops. Be very, very cautious. Remember, this green line is the previous day low. Yeah, Sphere looks sick, Ryan. Next fight, November. And is that in Ireland or back in France again? Volume profile I'm using on TradingView is called Session Volume Profile. Might have it saved on an indicator. Where would it be? I think it's just the standard Session Volume Profile. Let me have a look. Yeah, just the standard one that comes with TradingView. I've just changed the colors of it. All right, there's your drive up into previous day low. So this is looking very, very good now for a potential continuation. The reason I like it is look at all the stops up here, right? So where we broke down from, this is the range you're looking to attack. And if we can get to the upside, then we can run the IB high. All right, so just stick with this long. If you still have this long, stick with it long. All these bull flags are starting to play out now. So why we didn't fight it to the short side. The lower time frame conditions, look, have gone bullish. Your bull signal on the indicator was right here. All right, so from here, you are already up 50 points right now. Yeah, running errands. Have a great day. Great trades today. Well done. Glad you made some money. Yes, SVP, Foster, SVP. In Ireland, Ryan. Amazing. In Dublin, so you get your local crowd there. Okay, so a tap of what? What did we just tap? High time frame algorithm. All right, so drove up, tap into high time frame algorithm, some sell here. Remember I said this is a very steep trend, guys, so you might get a deep pullback here. You might get a deep pullback here. So where are the stops? Okay, I'd say like there's probably some stops somewhere around here. Structure wise, it's holding. Think about this structure wise, higher highs, higher lows, right? Move 1, move 2, move 3. Is it going to come back and hold this? Does it need to sweep it first and trap and then go? That's what I'm thinking about now. I'm not participating as a buyer up here now. We've done a very, very nice move. Right, so I'd want to see what? I would want to see some form of bullish pattern. You're always looking for some form of bullish pattern to be joining in the trend. Okay, and you're going to be aware of this liquidity here, this liquidity we've built, because if we do this, what does that look like? How are we going to use it? That's how you should be thinking all the time. Where's the liquidity? Who's stuck? How are we using it? Remember, we are just inside an initial balance. So this is very, very simply a range rotational play. Remember, we talked about on this drive up, we're likely to have a deeper pullback, which is starting to happen. All right, we're starting to see it. So I'd still want to see this base out and hold above this level here, right? Into the flow zones, into the Momo zones, maybe a little sweep and a reclaim, something like that. What's Ryan? That's awesome in Belfast, so up north. And is it with the same promotion as before? Is it with like, is it one that your management team are putting on? Okay, so a nice hold here of the flow zones. Now, a two-leg pullback would be ideal here. Do not know if we get it. You're looking for something like this, guys. Something like this that can hold and reclaim. Be very, very cautious here if we start to do this, because then we're going to come back down for these lows. So we've left a lot of stops at the bottom and a lot of stops at the top, right? And what did we say? Coming into FOMC, this is what it likes to do, because then it has levels of liquidity it can go and seek on those news candles on Wednesday. That's awesome, Ryan. Well, good luck, man. I hope the training goes well. Do you know your opponent? Do you know who it is? Anyone that doesn't know, Ryan in chat is a professional fighter, MMA fighter, and he's in my room. All right, just be patient here. Be patient here. We're not forcing these shorts here. We're waiting to see if a long sets up. We are very aware of where we are. We are mid-range, right? If you measure this out, we will be around 50% or so, right? We're mid-range. We tapped the 61. We're mid-range. We're waiting to see if bids come in and sustain it, or if it's just a squeeze. The first part was definitely just a squeeze, all right? Shorts got stuck here, which is why we saw the acceleration. Then we had bid up, bid up, bid up. Now, are they trapped here? Do they roll back down for the deep move, or does some bid show up? So we're just going to wait, guys. We're going to wait and see. There is absolutely no rush to be pulling a trigger. All right, you're 2 hours into your day, and we've had two nice winners already. Hard name to remember, no worries. All right, so we're looking for some form of flag for upside momentum here, and we're very, very aware if it's going to roll. All right, watching those daily levels, because we tapped previous day close and we're underneath previous day low. So from a daily point of view, if daily traders want us to trade down, they're going to be short at these levels. Multiple time frame traders trade over multiple time frames. They're looking at different things. They're not all looking at these 1 minute charts. All right, Some of them are looking at daily levels. You got long at the buy signal, have a stop just under it. Is that good, or should you have moved it up? So you got long at 66. Yeah, I would have taken some, hopefully took some partials. I would have moved it up, but if you haven't now and we've just swept, like maybe, I don't know your exact entry, dude, so maybe you're in around 79. It looks good right now. It's looking like it wants to squeeze. So I would be moving stop up, at least protecting this wick at 76, and maybe further, because you've got your 20-30 points in the money. All right, so around here, you want this flag to start playing out now. Here's your two leg that we just talked about. It's how they trap more in. So now you want expansion up and up quickly to force them out the market, which is starting to come. So remember we just talked about this two leg? 1, 2, trap, hold here after a sweep. Remember that we said the stops were there, we swept them. So now we need to see it do this. I certainly wouldn't let it come under, really I wouldn't want it to come under 80, dude, because if it comes under 80, it's probably going to come under 76, and then it's going to come and attack this block here, which is where you got in. This is looking good though, it's looking promising. Just need it to get through that green line. That green line is the previous day low. It needs to get through that for continuation upside. Okay, good. Well, you should be in the money, hopefully. We run this high through the 61, we're going to run VWAP, we're going to run previous day close here, and then we're going to be into this supply block up here, and there are very, very obvious levels up here. And then if we get through that, as a reminder, this was the downtrend. It's very similar to what we talked about last week. So what do we have in this downtrend? Well, we have stops here, here, and here. I'm not saying it has to do all this today, but if it starts to really start to get going and get above here, these are going to be the obvious targets. It can be later in the week, but those will be the obvious targets. But you need short time frame momentum to come in now, because higher time frame traders against the daily, all right, are selling into green line, white line, which is previous day low, previous day close. And you really need to get above the New York open price, right? You get above the New York open price, we have upside potential. Oh, it's not a rookie mistake, dude. You know, you're new to it. You're learning as you go. Even experts make that mistake, not taking partials. Right? Counter trend move. We're in counter trend move. You get aggressive on partials. You short lower day for continuation. You get aggressive on partials. But you're in a pro trend move. When we get a pro trend move, when everything aligns, you don't get aggressive with partials. You let it work. So this green line is key. This is your daily, previous day low, which is also previous week, into the close between this white and green is key on a weekly and daily. So you got daily and weekly traders trading against these levels right here. because if they can get a rejection on that, they have the chance to go lower, right? So if you go to a daily chart, if they can get a rejection on these, bring the daily chart up. Okay, if we keep rejecting here, right, if we keep rejecting here, then we have the potential to go lower because there's an imbalance in here. And if we think about a fib, it would make sense, wouldn't it, for a pullback into this zone to find potential buyers. Doesn't have to be today, all right? Does not have to be today. I would love it to happen today, tomorrow, but it can do whatever it wants. But I'm just aware of what daily and weekly traders might be wanting to do in the market. Not every trader is trading off lower time frames. The biggest institutions are trading off much, much higher time frames. If you think they are looking at liquidity sweeps and 1 minute fair value gaps and all this shit that people are talking about, you are having a laugh. They are not. They are looking at higher time frame levels. Yeah, well, it's not. I mean, he uses it as imbalance, but yeah, it's same thing, right? So basically, it's areas where limit orders don't get filled. So even if you had, my brain isn't working, sorry. Even if you had a footprint chart, all right, it would show you an imbalance there, basically where people couldn't get filled. So just large engulfing candles, effectively, that's what they are. Right, so they're just where not everyone has got filled. Right, so here you go. So why you had to be careful. The higher time frame traders came back in here. Right, the daily and weekly traders came back in here and sold, and we squeezed up, and hopefully some of you took partials into that, and now you have to be careful. If we can't hold this base here, where are we going to go? Back to IB low, right? Range rotation day. So we tried to get to VWAP, didn't quite get there, but we tried to get to VWAP, which is a very normal rotation off the IB low. What are we holding now? 20 days? So there's so many levels here right now, which is how you know we're not in a trending market. So many things. ICT didn't invent it. No, ICT didn't invent anything. He came up with some good concepts. I think some of his teaching is good. And he created some coin names around stuff. But he didn't invent anything. He didn't invent the algorithm. He didn't invent imbalances or any of these things like order blocks. They're the same as drop-based drop. All right, it's the same print. These are all the same principles, just like slightly tweaked. But I would say he's a good teacher. He has some methods which are good. Not here to disrespect anyone. Like, everyone can teach their own way, no problem. But one thing I would say is he did not invent the algorithm. That is laughable. Okay, so this is where it gets tricky, right? This is where sellers got stopped out. So the market needs to hold this for upside. But we broke down under this shelf, so you have short-time buyers stuck up here. So if it returns up and fails, we get the move down. If it returns up and reclaims, all right, then we use that liquidity for upside. So it's always and if or. It's always a few possibilities. With everything flat, okay, think about this. Here's your 20-day, purple line, 20-day, deep flow zones, momentum clouds, previous day low, high time frame algo, VWAP, previous day close. This is pretty close range for something like NQ, right? So you've got a lot of people fighting right now. Don't get chopped up, guys. Do not get chopped up trying to fight. Okay, so if we're going to fail this level for range rotation, we're going to come back to the IB low. So breaker structure there, this looks like a reflush and it's going to want to attack the IB low. So see how quickly that happened, guys. the pattern we talked about, right? We said be very careful, and if it doesn't hold this, be very, very careful. This is why. This is when it gets hard to trade, because people get stuck, because the range starts to tighten, and it can move very, very quickly from a buy to a sell, because it's building liquidity, and that's when it traps, right? So we were in a sell here, we were in a sell here, but it trapped here, so we covered and got out. Then we moved to an early buy signal. Here's your squeeze up. Then we were in a buy. Then we were in a buy. Then up here, I was like, you have to take profits and protect. Then we use the liquidity in a sell, right? So maybe now we get a sell, or maybe it traps again and we go back to a buy. Right, so when you're trading, you have to be dynamic with the market. You have to respect exactly what it's doing in front of you. If you stop respecting that, if you get bias, if you're like, well, I'm in a buy, so I'm going to keep buying this, you're going to get cooked, right? Just respect it. Let it stop you out if you got it wrong. That's fine. But don't fight it, right? Now it's in a sell. So maybe it comes down to here. Maybe it sweeps these. Maybe it reclaims. We don't know what it's going to do. We can only play what's in front of us. All of the market is red on the day, other than Google. Even the treasuries are split, right? VIX is still at that 1750, 1760 stage. So it's above the IB high, but it can't break out to new highs. So you've got so many things fighting against each other. That's why it's really important. Take the trades when they set up, move on. If your setup is there and it's presenting itself, take it. My setup isn't there. My setup is not there. I'm not in a pro trend. I know it says bearish, bearish, but we're inside initial balance, so I'm respecting that we're inside initial balance. So do I want to trade the mid-range right now on initial balance? Not really. Even though it's giving a sell signal and there's a really good chance it comes down there. For me personally, you should do what fits you. For me personally, I don't like trading inside initial balance. I do not really love it. The best trades for me are way outside initial balance. Do I think this comes in retests? Probably does. It probably does. I'm going to play to my strengths. My strengths are when the market picks a really nice trend and I can get involved. So VIX going to have another attempt now. So it's been up here for quite a while, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 minutes, almost an hour and a half now, trying to get a flag breakout on the M10 for that inverse head and shoulders look on the VIX. Again, if it does that, we will get sell pressure in the market. ES is trading right at its IB low. On an M10, it does look like it's going to have continuation lower because it looks like it's done a flag, tapped into VWAP and failed. So on the ES, it looks weak to me. It looks like it can make lower lows, which does give me an inkling. If it does it, then tech might have another attempt at coming down to that IB low. So if you're playing this, if this suits your trend thesis, if you're taking that sell signal, that is fine. It's absolutely fine. It's a good trade. You should be targeting into these levels down here. If it starts to reclaim, you should not be holding it, guys. Do not fight. Do not fight what's in front of you. Very, very nice here. Really nice. If you took that, great trade. You took these, great trade. Right, you should be looking for this, and then you should be looking for these equal lows or relative equal lows, targeting somewhere around here. Remember, that's your 5-day and it's your anchored VWAP. Like I said, probable to come back down towards the IB, which is what we're getting. Not in this. I'm not in this trade. It's not something I'm looking to take, but it is a probable trade. Just respect where buyers stepped in. They stepped in twice. If they get stuck, right, if they get stuck here and we do another cup and handle, right, if we do another one of these, this will probably provide a very nice flush moment. If this is simply going to hold, then you've got this. right? This level here. For me, it looks like it wants to drive lower. Like I said, I'm watching the VIX try and break out. I'm watching ES try and do an M10 move down. So you should not be in buys here, right? The curve is rolling over. We're rolling over. Just trade with the momentum. Doesn't mean chase it down, but trade with the momentum all the time. It will pay you more often than it will not. I will have good conviction here if VIX can start breaking out. All right, so if VIX can start breaking 1770 for upside, then I know we're going to try and run straight up to 18. And then from that point, if it has bids, we're going to run up to 1860, and that will be the completion of its first cup. So I'm looking at that on a 10-minute chart, on an M10 chart. This is looking very good. If you took this, well done. Think about a small partial into IB low now. Think about a small partial into IB low. You would not want to see this come trade back above 61. If it starts to get into these lows, it has the potential to waterfall, because there's a lot of stops. Think about how many bulls are in here. So if it trades underneath them, they're going to get stopped out. I would not be taking a fresh short at this level right now. The only other thing I see here is something like this. Again, I'm not going to get short in here. I want to see this get taken out. Any questions, guys? Moving fairly quick sometimes here. Just trying to call what I'm seeing all the time. This is, again, pretty steep, this channel. Right, it's pretty steep. I might want to retest here. Trap would be good, something like that would be really nice. So possibly micro bear flag again is what you're looking for. So into your initial balance low. So this, please, please, please take a small partial here if you took this short. Take a small partial here if you took this short. Better than trades by Matt. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. I don't really watch Matt. I think he's a nice guy, but I don't know how he trades or what he does. But I think he's a good guy. I know he made some good money earlier this year off Apex. Okay, so look at the reaction of the initial balance low. That is why I say take a partial into initial balance low. Remember, this is supply up here now. This needs to reject. If you're going to have continuation, you need to see this. Okay, if it reclaims this, it's going to use the liquidity again. It's just going to trap and trap and trap and trap. So just follow momentum. Momentum short term is to the downside. Okay, if you're not in this short, you've missed this short. That's absolutely fine. I'm not in this short. I've called it, but I'm not in this short. It will be very, very obvious if it starts to let go of everything. It will start to become obvious. But yet again, this is starting to get choppy because look at VIX. Anyone that was watching it with me, it rejected its highs again. So it still cannot break out to the upside. That's why I lack conviction here to really look for a trend lower today on the market. If VIX can't get going, we're not going to get lower. You also had the same with the ES. It wicked underneath the IB low and traded straight back inside. You want to see these bear flags sort of break down. You need to basically see, imagine this is a huge channel. You need to see this break down, guys, which is starting to happen. If you took this there, you're in the money nicely. Just respect the initial balance. Doesn't mean take it all off. It means take a partial and try and hold a runner for a low of day run if it's going to do it. And you've got 10 minutes into lunch. I'm watching the daily here as well. Okay, so the daily here has traded through most of Thursday And that low of day is into Wednesday's high of day. So if you look at the daily candle, where the 5-day moving average is pretty much the blue squiggly line, the low of day is into the high of day on Wednesday, right? So we've repriced Thursday. Ross Gosling, man, is that Roscoe? Is that my buddy? How's it going, dude? Hope you're good. All right, so flush of IB low here. So you're getting more trend continuation, guys. This is looking pretty good, but you have to respect this and you have to respect this. This level here, look on a daily chart. Okay, it is Wednesday's high of day. So we've repriced Thursday. We've flushed Friday, we've repriced Thursday, we're into Wednesday. From these moments on, you need to be looking at H1 levels. They're going to give you better blocks for downside, but you have to respect the initial balance low. Again, reaction off the IB low. So now I'm thinking about if it reprices, does it squeeze all over again, or do you get a new bear flag continuation to sweep? Right, I'm not thinking about new shorts down here. Shorts were already up higher. Again, watching the VIX, look at the VIX, it's starting to fail now. It's trading well inside its initial balance now. It is not a good sign here for continuation lower on the market. Caught the short to IB, yeah, lovely work, Ryan, good work. So you've caught the long up and then you flipped short for the downside. That's really, really nice trading. So if you're not fully out, just make sure you're being proactive, all right? So you're taking a partial into the initial balance, moving that stop break even, giving it a chance to work for you. All right, again, look at the VIX, guys. The VIX is failing. It is really failing. It's in its midpoint of the initial balance. If we trade up now, we're going to retarget these levels. Remember, daily levels, higher time frame algo, VWAP, lower time frame algo, previous day close. They're all clustered together. We talked about it earlier. This is where buyers stepped up, this region here. So we know buyers are down there. The easiest sell now will come when those buyers get out the market. If we do something like this, we get them out the market, we stuff them, we will trade lower prices. For now, all this is showing you is that we are in a range rotation day inside of the initial balance. Yeah, took a big partial, left the runner, then stopped out. Yeah, but that's really good work, Ryan. Really, really good work. You're respecting the conditions, the market conditions. So these are your two options. Bear flag right now, you would want to see the market get weak. You would need to see the VIX start trading up, which it's not doing. This seems very unlikely to me at this moment. This feels like we might get something similar to this, where shorts got stuck down here and we start reclaiming. Notice how the flow zones, right, they're struggling today to give momentum because we're inside this initial balance. So we keep flipping from bearish to bullish. The best days will be trend days, we will be outside initial balance, and every single time frame will be in alignment. All right, do not short this, guys. This is in a squeeze. Like we talked about, we don't short the lows. Everyone got trapped here. Your top step TVs probably got trapped here. Nice one, Scott. Look forward to working with you, dude. Look forward to working with you. Take your time to work through that course. It's pretty, it's a chunky course, man. It's 20 hours. But lean on the guys in the room. They're all good people. And then my DMs are always open in the room as well. If you go to the last chapter in the course, it will have the email to get in contact with for access to the Discord. And then you'll get the indicator and everything. Everything's in the Discord. So again, VIX still trading down, all right? Still trading down. Nice. So Coop and Scott, you've traded together before then in another room, I assume. Yeah, take your time, mate. Take your time. All right, so we're coming into a new hourly candle. We're going to come into lunch. So ask yourself, on a day like today, when we're trading inside initial balance, okay, where we're trading inside weekly range, where we're trading at the 5-day, at the 20-day, where we have FOMC on a Wednesday, where we have triple witching this Friday, where we're rolling over contracts on the futures right now. Do you want to be trading over lunch? Do you want to be trading over lunch? For me, that is a big no-no unless there's a very, very obvious trade, because it will get super thin, spread across multiple contracts. 2 out of 2 wins, Monster PT. IB high, short, IB low, long done for the day, 10K challenge account, pass. There you go, that's my guy. Great work. Great, great work. Just respecting the initial balances, trading the range rotation. Really, really well done. Is this a formation of the right shoulder? Possibly, Ryan, right? Possibly. This is what we're talking about. Possibly, if you're seeing this, and possibly this is a huge continuation lower. The problem is you've got multiple time frames fighting right now, and we're trading inside the initial balance, right? So if we're trading inside the initial balance, should we be looking for short here? Not really, because we're in a range rotation, right? So that short there is in a mid-range, not just of the initial balance, but of the last few hours, right? So if this is your range, the last few hours, and you're short here, right? You're probably 1-to-1 both sides. You're also trend up right now. The easiest one will come microstructure, flush, take out the IB low, continuation, take out this. This would be nicer. Right now, this move that we're in here, which could be forming the right shoulder, this right here feels very similar to this because we're inside initial balance. And remember, you've done the course. Inside the initial balance is not like a trend day. So inside the initial balance, we have to trade the edges. Short down here, like Monster in the room just did. Failed auction underneath, long from here, trend up to the VWAP midpoint. Right, from here, we either get above and go, or we do what we're doing now. We trade back to the IB low, because all we're doing is building liquidity. This is where traders get so pissed off all the time, because they go short, 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 stop out. And then they're like, all right, we're getting long now. Long, 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 stop out. Right, it's building liquidity. Building liquidity, what do I mean by that? It is trapping everyone to have their stops left in the market so that it can accumulate or distribute positions, so that when the red news comes, the red folder news on Wednesday, FOMC comes, it's going to use their stops for a violent move. You're going to see 500, 600, 700, 800 points, maybe 1,000 points potentially on Friday. Doesn't need to be unidirectional, right? It could be like 300 points one way, 400 points the other, for example. On Wednesday, sorry, on FOMC. I meant for micro long. What were you looking at then? You were looking at this? Yeah, kind of. More of a flag into here would be TP, but it can just also just do this. It's very, very tricky here, Ryan. Not A+ conditions. No, look, the easiest way to see it when it's not A+, look how we go red to green to red. If we go back green and we trend up here, yeah, it's a nicer trade. These are not aligned, look. No alignment. Like I said, this can be very similar to here, where it catches short time frame shorts, lower time frame shorts, offside. We talked about it earlier. When do the best squeezes happen? The best squeezes happen when a market fails to move lower. All right, so when do the best shorts happen? It happens when a market fails to move higher. If a market fails to take out a high, if it fails to do a break of structure, traps longs, moves lower. That was right here, fails to make a new high, right? So we move up, up, up. This one failed to make the high, trap the longs in this zone, moves lower. This right here, we failed to move lower, trap the shorts, can move higher. Rinse, repeat, multiple time frames. Everything I just showed you there is exactly how the market moves over every single time frame. Just catching up with chat now, sorry. All right, so just a battle here. This is, you're into a new hour now as well, guys. So now you're into lunch. Peep the H1, right? Peep the H1. We've flipped point of control further down. So here's your H1. So earlier today, point of control was right up here at 436. Now you've got point of control down here at 372, right? And you have less volume in this gap. So the market is either going to try and trade down, or it's going to build a shelf here and trade back up to the IB. It is as simple as that. It is literally that simple. So you do not need to be participating, getting yourself caught in between all these levels. You're just going to require patience. We talked about it in the room today. You have to be patient this week. For me personally, when am I going to get aggressive this week? Probably Thursday. Thursday's the point where I probably have a good understanding of where the weekly range is. I know the reaction. I know that we've done a quarter or a half point cut. I know whether the market has priced it in by that point. By the time we get into Thursday, we'll either be pinning high or pinning low. I guarantee it. We've either washed one side or washed the other. And then we're going to either look for trend continuation or a reversal. If there's a pump and dump scenario, we can play it. If there's a dump and pump scenario, we can play it. But after Wednesday, it's going to be so much easier. Monday, Tuesday is going to be crap, right? We're going to do this, exactly what we're doing. Tuesday, historically Tuesday, until more recently, we wait normally until FOMC to do the move. That said, if you look at the price action, the last few conferences we've done, bear in mind the last few conferences, we have not done a cut. We've done nothing other than Powell talking for a couple of hours, but there have been good moves on Wednesday morning, right? So more unusual. This week might be different. The only reason is he's going to cut. He's either going to cut a quarter or he's going to cut a half. If he doesn't cut, this market is cooked, is absolutely toast. So the question is, where are we coming into Tuesday? All right. And what is the reaction? Do we go instantly bullish off that cut, or is it baked into the market? So Thursday, much, much easier. You sent me a pic. All right. Let me just check that very quickly, Ryan. In fact, I'll do it on my phone. So here we go. Potentially trying to move lower yet again over lunch hours when no one is at home. Oh, I don't see it, Ryan. Did you put it in a different tab? I don't see it in Discord, Ryan. Maybe send it again. Okay, so see how we're moving again into a sell signal. Market cannot make up its mind. This is a really good indicator to not get involved in the market, guys. The easiest trades will always be trend trades, in my opinion. Unless you're a very good range rotation player like Monster today, has taken a short at IB high and a long at IB low. So that is the correct way to play this market. That is absolutely the correct way to play this market. We talked about it Thursday and Friday on stream as well. I'm going to give this 5-10 more minutes to stick around with you guys. If you have any questions, please shoot them over now in chat. I'll do my best to answer them. I did drop a new video at the weekend on a trading psychology hack, what you guys need to be doing to stop yourself going on potential tilt. Make sure you check that out if you haven't. Apex is still on sale right now, 80% off 1 day pass. The link is underneath in the description. Use code FZT for the best discount always. And if you want to go straight to funding, if you're a good trader and you want to go straight to funding, you can of course use Fast Track Trading right now as well. They have a straight to funding program. I've got a video on it on YouTube. You can check it out again. The code is underneath. So looking again like it wants to trap and break out here. All right, so look how these signals are not going to help you today. We are not in a trend. Okay, we have mixed signals. You have multiple time frames fighting over this. No worries, Foster Scott. Have a great day. Look forward to working with you. Market looks like it wants to come and retest right now. All right, so it's trapped. So there's your pivot, higher low, higher low. Here is potential breakout. Remember, you're over lunch. This is the overhead supply right now. You get through that, you have more continuation upside. You fail this supply, okay, this supply right here, we're going to do the same stuff, right? Then we're going to create liquidity, roll back down. This is why I'm not interested in the market. Right, had one nice trade before the market opened, 2 nice trades on stream. I'm not going to force myself on this market. If you force yourself on the market, if you are forcing a trade which is not a clear and obvious trade, if it's not part of your setup, you're going to get into bad habits and you're going to give back profits. You should be having a very, very clear strategy, very, very clear setup. Understand your risk reward, and you should just be rinse repeat on that. It can be multiple strategies. If you're a good trader, it can be multiple strategies, but my advice would be to start with trend trading, right? Start with trend trading, then develop things like range trading, develop things like reversal trading. Start with one setup at a time. The VIX gave a very big clue today that we weren't going to go lower. I kept talking about it on stream over and over and over again. If you look at an M10 chart or any chart at all, it kept failing the highs, and we are trading back down into below the midpoint of the initial balance. If this fails and comes back to the IB low, we are going to rotate where? Back to the IB high. But for now, you are in midpoint. All right, we're in the midpoint. Just think about here. Let's pull that down. The midpoint will be 1 to 1 right here. All right, so we're trading right towards that midpoint. So there's a lack of edge right now in the market, in my opinion. Last chance for questions. I got to sort out this green screen, eh? Once that sun comes in the mornings, it looks horrible. There we go. I should have done that all day. Okay, so before I sign off, I'm going to leave you with my thoughts on what this market can do. Okay, so I feel like we have a huge amount of stops left up here. And I'm just going to use grey boxes for stops, and then we have failed auction but stops left down here. We are building liquidity here for sure. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. This is effectively your neckline in this box. All right, so if we fail under here and we retest, not only is that a neckline fail, but you can see and use it as a huge handle for downside pressure. If we start rejecting here, you can take a fresh short position, but you must respect the initial balance. Much like before, if we come back down there and we do the same thing over and over again, and we hold this, we sweep and we hold it in W, right, you can trade back up to top of this range, or maybe top of this range. We have to see what range this puts in at that point. These are harder trades to take, right? These are harder trades to take when you're looking for reversal on range. If it gets going, all right, then we are going to attack the IB high up here. VIX will be the clue for you, all right? VIX will be the clue for you. If the VIX fails to get towards the IB high, then we are going to do the opposite, all right? If it fails to get towards the IB high, the market is going to start trading back upside. So that's what I'd be looking for the rest of the day. Really simple. Either a continuation trade, all right, a breakdown continuation trade, another failure, which seems a little less likely now because we've come down a few times, and partials, all right? And if for some bizarre reason we do this and we base over, you can think about fresh longs. But right now, look, it's starting to flush already, all right? So like I said, into lunch, you're gonna get weird moves. Just remember, you're in triple witching on Friday, you're rolling over the contracts, things get thin, you have people trying to reposition into FOMC on Wednesday. You're not always gonna get perfect A+ setups, all right? You don't need to trend every day, and if you got a good trade today, you're done. You don't need to be here. So take that money and run. I'm going to leave you with those thoughts. Please, please, please trade safe. Don't be chasing the market in these conditions. It will punish you. Do not oversize and use hard stops. You've got to use hard stops, especially in this market. It can 100-point flush out of absolutely nowhere. And if you haven't got a hard stop in, you're going to be upset. Until next time, trade safe, use hard stops. Peace out. I'll see you in the room. Links down below. Take care.